phone is turned off. Let's make sure I have the right stuff here. Is that right? Yes. Okay. One sec, sorry. I just realized I forgot to take a med.
Uh-oh.
No, I'm fine. It's totally fine. Okay. There we go. Okay, cool. See, no one's watching us. No big deal. I don't know if you can see that, but I can see it. We have 0 right now, so we're totally fine.
I just see live and the countdown, so I don't know where I would see.
You don't get to see the very depressing 0 I'm looking at, but that's not it's totally fine. I think the most we ever had watching was 50, and that was like a one-off, but we do have a lot of listeners. Almost nobody will watch it, so there's no pressure at all. And we'll eventually, produce this and put music. We have sponsors. We have, all of the, polished up stuff to make sure it looks and sounds good. All right,
nice.
Here we go. You know what? By the way, you know what else confused me on your website? It's not you. It's just me. So on the Tara Meier website, in the title of the website is actually TERRA. So it's like TERRA, and then it's some, I don't know, something else, which I'm sure has nothing to do with your name, but it just confused me for a second.
Well, yeah. So you're kind of seeing remnants of an old site that I was using as my real estate site. So
that's what I figured.
All of
I was
these
like, that's kind of cool.
That I kind of have.
Yeah. Oh no. I think it's very cool. I love it.
Okay.
But I just got confused. I was like, oh, do I have it wrong? Is it really TERRA? And then I'm like, no, that means Earth. It's a pun. She's using. Yeah, it was a business thing. I get it.
Yep.
But I just it stopped me for a second. I was like, wait, what? But no big deal. I think it's cute. All right, cool.
Thank you.
You got a lot going on.
I do.
Right,
I have a lot going on.
All right, here we go. Today on the show, we have Tara Meier from My Home, which is in Chandler, Arizona. Let me tell you more about Tara. Tara Meier is a seasoned real estate marketing technology expert with over 20 years of industry experience. She's known for her entrepreneurial spirit, and Tara also excels in leveraging innovative marketing technology to enhance visibility and productivity. Now, as a coach and consultant, she specializes in brand and identity development, online presence and reputation management, and social media strategy. Tara's expertise extends to AI and automation. That's what everybody's wanting to learn about. We're going to talk about that today. Also, digital advertising, CRM implementation, and transaction management systems. Her focus is on driving growth and efficiency for real estate professionals through cutting-edge strategies and tools. We're going to have such a fun conversation today with Tara. But before we do, I want everybody to follow her on Instagram. We have a link to this in the show notes, but it's _Tara, TARA, Meier, MEIER _. So _Tara Meier _. Don't worry, we'll have a link to it. You can find it there. And please follow her on LinkedIn as well. Search for Tara Meier. We have a link to that in the show notes as well. And go to her website, which is tarameier.com, to learn about all things Tara. Tara, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I have to say, my very first real girlfriend in life was named Tara. And so, and I haven't thought of that name in a very, very long time. So I'm having these weird flashbacks to my early 20s of going, this painful relationship that was a million years ago. And actually she's a lovely person. Everybody's first relationship was terrible, I think. So, but it is funny. I haven't talked to too many Taras since then, and I had a moment where I was like, why am I thinking about oh, that's right, they have the same name. So anyway, it was just kind of a cute story. Mm-hmm. But she's married, has kids, she's doing great. But anyway, let's talk about some fun stuff today, because I'm a marketing person as well. You're a marketing person. You're about systems and branding and marketing. And we're going to talk about all that fun stuff, as opposed to just how'd you grow your business, which is what I do on every other episode, which is really fun and exciting too. But people really want to hear about systems and marketing. So let's talk about that. But before we do, I do want to find out how you got into the business. How did you start in real estate, and why?
Yeah. So in 2002, I found myself at the front desk of a title insurance company. I spent 10 years at First American Title, kind of doing various positions. I grew from, like I said, a receptionist. I did escrow disbursements, some signings, and finished off as an examiner on the title side. Shortly after that, I was recruited by an agent who liked my title background. He was focused primarily in REO at that time, so that was around 2010. And I helped him with. I mean, he was a one man show running like 30 to 50 REO dispositions at one time. So it was all things vendor management and cash for keys and some of those not so sexy things. And then from there, I transitioned. I got my license in Arizona in 2012. I was a successful agent. I think I did roughly around 150 transactions between 2012 to 2019 when I also got my broker's license. And then I quickly decided I decided I wanted to pivot and do something new. And so I went into prop tech, where I was a supervisor and a program manager for Zillow offers. And,
Yeah,
I learned all things, scaling and how to, operate with manage people as well as work with some of the most top producing agents in the Western United States that were affiliated with Zillow offers at that time.
sure.
They unfortunately went through a wind down, which everybody knows
Is
about.
that true? I didn't
Um,
hear. No, I'm kidding. We all
you didn't
know
hear about that.
Zillow offers is no more.
Yeah,
By the way,
yeah,
I know a lot of people have strong feelings about Zillow in general. I do not
yes.
have those same strong feelings. I am a big fan of tech companies. Zillow, I don't, will they ultimately try to replace agents? I guess they say they won't, but regardless, I think Zillow really does act to really help agents more than. And I know that not everyone agrees with that, but I am a fan of Zillow. Actually, they used to be a sponsor of my show, and I used to have them on the show all the time. So I'm a big fan.
Yeah, it was a great company to work for. I learned a lot about culture and just like how to operate in a high capacity. So I really valued my time there. It was unfortunate that it ended, but that's things happen for a reason.
It was it
So
was it was
after
just
that,
bad timing. Not you, but
yeah,
it was just timing with the market and everything. And it wasn't the only company like that to go, or division of a company like that to go under. Pretty much most of them did. So it wasn't exclusive
yeah.
to Zillow. But so you pivoted, you were doing that, and then that ended, and then where'd you go from there?
hmm Yeah, so then I was picked up by another prop tech company actually called Orchard, and I was the general manager and launched the Phoenix market here. And they also went through a wind down, so I was there for about a year and a half. So my tenure in prop tech lasted about 4 years, and then I was like, okay, I need to do something different, and maybe I just need to go back into real estate. And so I was kind of playing with that and trying to relaunch my indie career at the worst time probably possible, while we were kind of going through these high interest rates and everything of 2022 and 2023. And then I was actually approached by, or I followed a friend of mine, Aaron Lacey, who's also an MTD for My Home. And he had, kind of sent out an SOS, like, I'm looking for somebody who's really into marketing and can help me kind of grow what I'm doing here. And so I reached out to him, was like, wow, this sounds really fun. And I don't know if I have like the chops for it, but I'm willing to give it a try. And it just made sense because it was like even throughout my entire like real estate career, that was the thing that I focused on the most was the marketing technology piece. I was
Yeah.
in charge of doing the websites. I was in charge of doing all of the lead gen, of setting up our online presence, of doing all of these things. And so I have a knack for it and a passion for helping others. And I'm also this is kind of side hustle, but I'm also a CrossFit coach. And so
Ah,
I yeah, so I love helping people, like just lifting them up and helping them navigate, complex things, whether that's, how to do a snatch or a clean and jerk, or navigating how to figure out how to put together a Facebook post. So
oh,
I
I have
Sorry.
one
Yes.
CrossFit question for you. I don't know that this is a
Yeah.
CrossFit move necessarily, but in fact, it's funny. I was telling Tara, I go, I have to leave at 2 o'clock, and the reason I have to leave is I have a personal training session, not
Oh,
CrossFit, but I do like a weightlifter workout. But what I was going to ask you, because I've only seen CrossFit people do this, and for everyone else who's listening, like, shut up, get to the real estate stuff. But I just want to ask one quick question: Is can you do a muscle up? Is that a do you know what a muscle up is? Those are
I sure do.
insane. You can do
Yes.
one?
Oh yeah, I can do them on the rings and I can do them on the bar. So either
Okay,
one.
so I want everybody to know what Tara just said means she is the strongest person to have ever been on this podcast, because she will tell you it is one of the hardest things you can possibly do as an exercise. And literally, I've had on NFL football players on the show that cannot do that. So that is incredible. So you are a
Woo!
very fit person. That is incredible.
Bona fide athlete. Yes.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that is amazing. And guys, if you don't know what that is, Google muscle up. It doesn't look as hard. Just give it a try. And if you could even anyway, all right, let's get to the fun
Yeah.
stuff. But
Yeah.
the reason I'm saying this is my trainer just did her first muscle up ever. It took her a year to get there. So and she's like the strongest person I know. So that's really, really impressive. So discipline is
Awesome.
not a problem for you, is what I'm guessing.
No, it is not a problem. I love trying to figure things out, whether it be, a muscle up or walking on my hands or, how to get somebody to look at my website. So
Let's start with online presence. So realtors, I agree. Most of them have little to no online presence, with the exception of, "Hey, I just sold this home," or "I just listed this property," and I'm going to throw a pretty boring post on Facebook or Instagram. Um, that's usually about it. And let's
Mhm.
talk about what agents can do in 2024 to really provide value to their followers on social media, because and I want to get your opinion on this. I believe the best way to really garner interest is to, you know, provide some sort of content that isn't all just about look at how great I am, but more about here's some maybe questions or some answers to questions that you, Mr. and Mrs. Follower, might have, or here's some content that you just would find interesting. So I'd love to get your overall philosophy on online, branding, especially with social media.
Oh gosh, yeah. So much to talk about there. So first and foremost, so my online presence is probably the most important thing that a real estate agent can do. I mean, 90% of people are going online and Googling you, whether you are a referral or whether they see a postcard come in the mail. They're going to be Googling you. They're going to be checking out who you are, what you stand for, what your online, marketing looks like before they decide to pick up the phone and call you. And
And by the
so
way,
this,
also your friends are going to do the same thing. So don't
yes,
assume that just because you work a referral based business, meaning your clients refer or it's your sphere of influence, those people are also going to search you.
yeah, yeah, and that's a common misconception right now is that referrals will just pick up the phone and call, and that was maybe true 5 years ago. Now, on average, it's taking them 2 to 3 weeks of research before they actually
Sure.
decide to pick up the phone and call. So online presence, number one, is showing up consistently so that it's not confusing. All of these online platforms like Zillow.com, Redfin, Realtor.com, Homes.com, they're all going to create profiles for you, whether you like it or not, because they are fed from the IDX feeds. And so it's important that you go in and you take control of what people see from you. And so that means adding a profile photo. If there's an opportunity to showcase a banner like in realtor.com, you should do that. Make sure your bio is up to date and accurate, not outdated. And also ensuring that all of your links work to your various platforms. Google Business is one that's, I think way under leveraged right now for real estate agents. And it's so important because you can drive all of your reviews there, and it's the first thing people see when they Google your name. And there's a lot of ways to optimize it for hyper local type content. And when you talk about content, whether you're posting it on social media, so if you're into doing Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all of those, I think it's great. I personally don't think that you need to be an influencer on any of those platforms in order to have a successful business. But what I do think you need to do is you need to show, if you decide to show up on one of those, you need to be present and you need to engage on a consistent basis. So, we look at different platforms, like they are going to give you kind of either a positive result, a neutral result, or a negative one. And profiles that you have kind of out there, like maybe you have a Twitter, or now known as X, platform that you've had for 5 years and you don't do anything on it. It almost kind of gives that like negative, wow,
Get
is she open
get rid of it.
kind of
Yeah,
feel.
get rid of it if you're not
Mhm.
using it because nobody likes to see last post 2018. You're like, well, it just appears that you've abandoned something, right?
Totally, totally. And there are certain things that are good about having some of those platforms, but like I said, if you're not on there consistently using it, posting consistently, then get off of it. Um, and then with regards to content, I'm with you. Like, I think that, you know, gone are the days when just posting a house for sale is going to be exciting. I mean, I'm to the point, I don't know about you, but if I see it, I just scroll right by. And
Me
now
too.
people want to, they want to be entertained, they want to be informed, they want to be inspired. And so you really kind of have to identify your audience. Number one, that's probably when you venture into this content producing realm, is you need to identify who your audience is going to be. And that includes like uncovering, like, what are their consistent struggles, what are their problems, what do they want to know, what are they asking online. And there's a ton of different resources for you out there to kind of figure that out. Like ChatGPT is a great resource. You can use it to help you identify your audience and your niche. Or if you have a niche, like, what are some of those, common questions that you can maybe answer in some of your posts. Um, and identify your audience. That's probably
So
like the biggest
s-
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just jumping in just because you said a lot of really great stuff there. So here's what, guys, if you're like, well, I sort of don't know my audience, what my target audience is. Well, think about if you've worked with clients in the past, who did you enjoy working with the most? Was it a certain demographic, maybe an age range, maybe a certain type of buyer or seller first time versus maybe an investor or whatever you enjoyed, and you can literally then type that into chat gpt for if you wanted to work with first time home buyers, for example, and I would want to know what's the average age of a first time home buyer. Okay, well, that you can ask chat gpt that, and then I would say, hey chat gpt, give me 10 common concerns that a first time home buyer has, or here 20 questions that a first time home buyer may have, or what might a first time home buyer be searching for on Google or Facebook or Instagram or YouTube. You can literally just ask these questions to chat gpt, and it won't always be perfect answers, but you will get a lot of good data that way.
A ton of good data. And I would say, don't be afraid to reiterate on your question, the original question that you asked, because so many people I hear, like, yeah, I asked it a couple of questions and it kind of came back with gibberish. Like, you have to, there's a science and an art to the prompt. You have to tell it who you are. So I'm a real estate agent in this specific area. I want to know you know, um, what first time home buyers are struggling with in the Phoenix area. So, and then give me 10 ideas for content to use on social media. So you have to be very specific. Otherwise it will, go off in who knows what kind of direction.
Yeah, but it is really cool too because if you think like, okay, if one of the questions comes back with ChatGPT saying, "Hey, neighborhood selection or suburb selection is one of the biggest challenges for new first-time homebuyers," like, "Oh, that makes sense." Well, guess what, guys? You can now create content going, "Here's how people choose neighborhoods," or here's let's do a tour of a neighborhood, or the content is really endless. What you really want to find is how what really all you're doing is answering the questions first time home buyers or whatever your demographic has.
Mhm. Mhm, and I love that when it gives you the 10 ideas and then you say, "Okay, I wanna elaborate on number 1," and then it'll give you, like, 10 more ideas, or you can break it up into, like, a script for YouTube. You can just continue to get more and more granular as you go down the chat, until you get, like, get to the gold, I guess.
And for anyone who's looking for the free version of ChatGPT, yes, you can Google it and find it. I personally if you're not going to pay for it, you don't probably have to at this point. Down the road, yeah, there's going to be some additional functionality you won't have access to. But I personally, I never search on Bing, but Bing, Microsoft owns ChatGPT. So inside of the Bing app, they have the ChatGPT is in there, and it's pretty well updated, I think, to 2022. So it's pretty current with information, and you can literally just speak to it. So if you don't have the Bing app, download it just to use it for ChatGPT. That's a little my pro tip. Sorry, Tara, go right ahead.
Awesome. No, I love it. I love it. I think that I was at the end of my did I answer all of your questions?
I think so. Yeah. So the idea is, now we're really talking about AI. I was telling this to Tara just before we started, and I'll make this very quick because this is really about Tara. But I found a really cool application for AI this weekend. I said, I wonder what AI knows about my condo, and I just put in the building. It was built a few years ago, and it knew everything. I just wrote, "Tell me everything you know about," and I gave the address, and I go, "Oh my god." Agents could do this before every single listing they have. They just on their way, use the Bing app, talk to it, say, tell me everything you know. And let's say it comes back with nothing. Let's say it's like, I don't know anything about this home. Okay, fine. Then say, give me 5 fun facts about the neighborhood or the city or the suburb or the whatever. You can use it to get information that, or give me things first time home buyers in this neighborhood might be curious about, or, where's the nearest grocery store, things like that. You can get really sort of, you can just ask it things that you can then use in your conversations.
Oh, no, I love that. One of my favorite features of ChatGPT, I actually have the paid version just because I
Yeah.
do a lot of training on it. But with the $20 a month version, you get an option to upload a photograph. And you can upload a photograph of the listing that you're doing, and it will give you, like, you don't just ask it for a listing description for this property that I'm uploading a photograph of, and it will give such a great description of not only the architecture, but it will also go into what is surrounding it because there is, I believe, the metadata that's attached to the photos. And
Oh,
so,
sure. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So
Oh,
it's
that's really
pretty
smart. So
cool.
it'll know the coordinates of that, most likely, if you have your metadata in there, and then it will just look for other information. Kind of. Oh, that's brilliant. I love it.
Yeah, and I'm sure it takes into consideration too other listings that are around the area. So it kind of like, triangulates all those different things and just
So
really gives you some really juicy stuff.
So for $20 a month, if I was a brand new agent and I really didn't know much about architecture or I hadn't learned that yet, I would before every listing just upload one picture and say, "Tell me everything you know about this particular photo, everything that you can surmise." And this way, guys, when you can talk, say, "Oh, this is a Tudor home," and or whatever it may be. So, oh, that's such a great suggestion. I love that.
Yeah, yeah. And and it's not just limited to like kind of listing and everything. Like AI can really help you craft like a really compelling bio. It can help you build your brand. It can help you draft copy for your website, for all of your social media posts and everything like that. So I use it all the time, and I will say that yes, you definitely have to like look it over, but as far as like getting like the creative juices kind of flowing and making getting things started on the path to creativity, like it is a block remover. Like, so use it. It will change your world.
Yeah, it really will. I think ultimately over time there'll be applications developed into it that are very assistant focused, where you're going to be able. It's going to know you. It's going to know your schedule. It's going to know your challenges, and it's ultimately going to start helping you. But now, for now, you can just manually ask it everything. And as Tara was saying, you can start talking to it and telling it who you are. Hey, I'm a realtor. I'm this age. I have been in the business this long. The more specific information you give it, the better answer it will give you. And I'm looking for first time home buyers in this area. You could even ask it, what suggestions do you have for me to find first time home buyers in this area? And
Hmm.
it will give you all sorts of suggestions.
Yeah.
Let's talk about so for I think what most agents know about AI today is listing descriptions. We know we can throw our listing description that we write into, or we don't even, and maybe AI will write it for us. But if we have one, we can have it write a more persuasive one, or and you could even tell it to avoid fair housing violations. So you could
Hmm.
always say, please rewrite this in a more persuasive way or more emotional way or whatever. And please make sure to avoid, fair housing violations. And it's, again, you want to double check everything, but you can add that in at the end.
Yeah, for sure. The other, I mean, it's not limited to just listing descriptions or branding even.
Yeah.
If you are utilizing like a CRM and you want to put together some kind of open house campaign or texting strategy, you can use it to, navigate that as well and come up with, email templates, texting templates, anything like that that you want to add into your CRM in order to, nurture your clients. So yeah,
You can, and also you can use it. I know a very popular thing for agents is doing webinars or seminars where you're, for example, hey, I'm going to help you buy your first home, or from renting to buying, why you would consider that, or investing in real estate, or whatever the particular topic might be. You can have ChatGPT write you not only descriptions for every slide. They can actually create the slides for you as well. So it's really very, very cool. If you're like, I'm not good at graphic design, I don't use Canva or Photoshop, yes, I mean, you still may have to tweak some things, but it can put a pretty decent first draft together for you.
yeah, for sure, for sure. One of the things that have come up recently, like with the team at my home, is putting together kind of seller education classes, and like initially those types of things, they seem like a really big elephant to have to swallow at the right off the bat, and so it if you start it and do it systematically, you can really and you take it just one step at a time, you can develop an entire like course to teach on, do the presentation, and then also put together a marketing strategy to help bring people into your classes. So, it's very holistic. I mean, you can just do the whole thing, and it makes it very doable for just your average individual who needs to generate some business and make some contacts.
Yeah, and if somebody's, if our listeners are thinking, okay, I want to create great video content on social media this year, but I don't really want to write the scripts, and I don't, it's hard for me to come up with topics. This is what you can use Chat GPT to do as well. Say, hey, create a 60-second script for me, specifically talking about X, Y, or Z, and then give me five different versions of that, or five different examples altogether, and literally that's your script, or at least a good first draft for a script, and you just saved yourself hours, and now you just have to turn your phone around and hit the record button.
Yes, yes. And you have so many resources out there as real estate agents with regards to market data. And everybody wants to do a market update, but nobody knows what to say. Or sometimes in some cases, you may not even know how to interpret some of the data that's coming through. And so use things like ChatGPT or even Claude AI is a really good one for consuming large amounts of data. So you can get some like 10 key takeaways on like a really hefty document. And then you can ask it to generate you a script, just like DJ was saying, and it will even go into as much detail as giving you like the cut scenes and what should be incorporated like on screen as far as text is concerned. So it does. It saves you so much time and leaves you way more time to actually connect with people and your families. Like, I mean, this is going to be like the biggest time saver, I think, and we're really going to see some leveling up, I feel like, in the real estate industry thanks to AI.
Yeah, you want to be at the front part of the curve here, because once everybody understands how to utilize it, it becomes a little bit less significant for the individual agent, because everyone's going to be utilizing these tools in different ways. But you really want to be at the front end of this, because this is the time to really explore AI. I would love to also, Tara, ask you. Oh, but we should mention, by the way, Tara does consulting and coaching for real estate agents. She talks a lot about marketing automation, branding, AI systems. This is her specialty. She is a marketing guru. So if you're interested, we have Tara's contact information in the listing description. Please, please, please reach out to her, and she can let you know what her different training and coaching options are. Tara, let's talk a little bit about batching content? Because we know, like, in an ideal world, I'd film a video every 2 days and maybe a 60-second video on Instagram or Facebook. But we know that that's pretty difficult to do when things are flying at an agent, at any given time, and maybe every 2 days isn't realistic. So could you batch the content, and do you recommend sort of batching versus individual, doing it every 2 days or so?
I personally love batching. I have tried both ways. Both, doing it on the fly and trying to, juggle a million things at once, even just like when in my regular job. I mean, I have other clients and everything that I have to work with too, just like real estate agents. And I have to set aside like 2 to 3 hours a week for planning and and recording. So I may have a day where I do just kind of like the plan. I find my audio, I do, kind of all of the background, write out my caption and do my hashtags. And then I have another day where it may just be super simple. And then the recording is just like one and done. And I'm scheduled and I'm done for the week. I love that. It makes my week so much less stressful. And so if you can do that, I highly suggest it. You can use anything from, Google Sheets to organize kind of your plan for the week, to tools like Trello or Asana. Both of those are very easy to use and free. Actually, all of those are easy to use and free. I personally like Asana. I've tried everything else, and that's the one that kind of works best for me and for what I need. And it really just takes a lot of the pressure off of the posting piece too. Because I mean, how many times have you gotten to a point where you're like, oh, I'm going to do this reel, and you know, and okay, maybe I don't want to post it after all, or I'll post it and then you delete it because you're like, oh, it was really embarrassing, or I didn't think it was going to do well. If you schedule it and then you just don't think about it and you just let it go, you know what I mean? And you just have to be okay with some are going to flop and some are not. And, 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 and batching really helps, I think, not only with time saving, but also with like your mindset as it pertains to getting content out.
Yeah, and also too, let's remember everyone that just because you post something on social, a video, for example, a very small percentage of your audience is actually going to see it. So it's not like every single person is going to watch this video and then have a judgment about it, whether it was good or bad. It very, very small percentage. So don't worry too much about, that part of it of like, oh my gosh, this isn't perfect. I don't think um anyone's expecting perfection out of your content. I think what they're expecting is good quality information. Curious to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. And, it's important to kind of come up with some guidelines for yourself with regards to what it is you're going to be posting, just to kind of keep your guardrails, your bumpers on, so to speak, so that you don't get too far off and, la la land. And it also makes it easier to plan that way, and people want information. They want to, like I was saying earlier, they want to be entertained, they want to be inspired. And so coming up with some common themes for yourself that makes sense and resonate with who you are and who you want to be as a brand is going to be an important first step, even like back when we were talking about, creating and identifying who your audience is, because you can't please everyone. And so it's important that you're talking, you have to narrow down who it is you're talking to and not care about who, like you were saying, your friends and your sphere. Yes, they might see you, but only a few of them will. And the reason that you're doing social media and reels or TikTok or anything like that is to reach new followers. And so you want to be speaking to them. And if you don't raise your hand and be yourself and let people know what it is you do, then they're not going to find you. So
Now,
it's
I have a
important.
question about revealing personal details about your own life versus just professional details, right? So we can have a brand that is exclusively, I provide great information about buying and selling homes, and that real estate stuff. And I also know a lot of agents want to show parts of their personal life as well that people could find maybe interesting because it shows what that agent is passionate about. For example, you're a workout person, a CrossFit person. So I've seen agents who are CrossFit people post little quick videos of their workouts. Do you have an opinion? And again, everybody's temperature around sharing private or more personal, sort of information is different. So obviously, there's no correct answer. But what's your overall
Mhm.
thought on professional content versus personal content?
Well, so I think a good mix is always a good idea. People, they want to know the person behind the profile.
Yeah.
And I think how much you share is really your choice and dependent on how comfortable you are doing that and whether that's something that you feel is important. So, I mean, I try to be a mix. I kind of think of like stories as kind of my place to engage with the people and share kind of silly memes about my husband or something like that. um, and then I tend to kind of keep my reels a mix of personal, inspirational, and business. Um, and I think, it's important to share who you are outside of business because I don't know, I built a lot of my business around CrossFit when I was actively selling. And had I not done CrossFit and not like let those people know what it was I did, then I probably wouldn't have been as successful as I was. So people like to connect with like people. So show who you are and what you do outside of just real estate.
Did you end up working with CrossFit people who would be attracted to, hey, she's a CrossFit person. I saw her videos. So they would start to think, hey, she's like me. I want to work with people who are into the similar things to me. Like I imagine you probably did work with CrossFit people.
I did, yeah, a lot. Mhm,
Yeah, it's funny. I used to when I used to see realtors showing their workouts, I was like, I don't really get it. Like, do people really care? And then I sort of like watching people work out now. Like, I don't know why, even if it's just for a few seconds, there's something kind of inspiring about it for me to remind me to continue on my physical health journey. But also it's like, oh, that person's, really disciplined. It also, and I'm not saying everyone has to work out and film their workout videos, but whatever it is you're passionate about, any part of your life, you can feature it. And again, that might just speak to somebody who also has those same passions and is like, God, I wish I had a realtor that was into some of the same stuff that I'm into. Or I'd be
mhm.
more comfortable with a realtor who was into some of these, if you were like a big Harry Potter fan, I'm not, but if you were, I would be talking about, I mean, that's an old thing, but whatever a newer version of Harry
It's still
Potter is,
very
if that's
big.
your thing, I would talk about it all the time on social media if that was your thing, because
Mhm,
you're going to attract those people who have that same passion.
mhm, 100%.
Do you have a suggestion for a mix of personal to professional? So in other words, hey, here's some information about buying and selling homes, or I just bought, I just had a client do this or that, and here's what I got going on in my personal life. Do you have like a suggestion for a mix of maybe what percentage should be each?
Yeah, I personally think that it's like, 2/3 you and 1/3 business, especially for real estate
Interesting.
agents. And it's more like who you are with a sprinkle of real estate kind
Yeah.
of in there. And if you can relate what you do on a daily basis, like maybe you're at the park working and you're like, hey, getting work done while I'm, watching my kid throw a baseball or something like that. So, there's subtle ways for you to do it on a consistent basis. It's just kind of figuring it out and making, you have to just do it. It's really the strategy. You have to just figure it out what's going to work for you, and make sure that you're paying attention to the analytics and the data that's within the system, so you can kind of see what's getting the most engagement and maybe what's not, so you can shape your content that way.
Can we talk a little bit about digital advertising and beyond, like we're talking about creating content? Do you have specific thoughts on agents who are thinking about doing Facebook ads or LinkedIn ads or Instagram ads? Any specific? Have you seen agents have success with that, or is that a tough mountain to climb? Just curious your thoughts.
Yeah. So, Facebook ads, bulk of the population is on Facebook. I mean, it's got the biggest audience out there. And so if you are just going in and boosting posts like randomly, like you don't have any strategy behind who it is you're trying to target, I think you're pretty much like throwing spaghetti at the wall, just kind of seeing what sticks. There are ways to be much more strategic about your ads that you're doing on Facebook, Instagram, and and I'll talk about LinkedIn in a second. But with regards to Facebook and Instagram, there's a lot of ways to kind of layer your farming. So if you are farming specific areas, you can layer some digital ads on top of that. So utilizing phone numbers and email addresses that you may have from your farms, you can create custom audiences and target them in more than one way. So you may be sending them a postcard in the mail, so they're getting that. And then they're also starting to see you online. So they're like, oh my gosh, this person is everywhere. I think that that's probably the most strategic way to do any kind of Facebook or Instagram ads at this point, especially for real estate. Uh, it's just being, strategic. You could even, download your contacts from the cloud and Google, and so that way you have like your sphere and some people that maybe you've worked with in the past that you may not have contact with anymore. So
Yeah,
there's a
and
lot of
that
ways to do that.
that's a really good point too. So basically what Tara was saying is you can take your CRM and export all of your contacts and upload those into Facebook as a custom audience. And what Facebook's going to do is try to match those email addresses and the names with accounts that they have. And it isn't going to be a perfect match always, and it might not find everybody, but it's going to find a lot of people. And if you upload all your clients, for example, you probably wouldn't want them to receive an ad that says, "Hey, buy your first home," right? Assuming that these are people that have already bought a
Hmm.
home, right? They might want to get a thing about, are you looking to upgrade to your next property? You could make a specific ad for that, or looking to make a change, that kind of thing. So you can get really granular about this. And there doesn't have to be a million different buckets, but there may be a few buckets of, this isn't yet a client. This is a client that I've already worked with. And you can have different ads going. And this way, and guys, Facebook used to come on my show every single month, corporate, and talk about, and they would say, do not boost post, do not boost post if you're a realtor. They would literally just tell us to do it. It goes back a few years, but the head of the real estate department at Insta or at Facebook at Meta would say, do not boost posts. Guys, you want to be way more strategic. And so Tara can actually help you with all of this stuff too, and help you
Yeah.
figure out what your audiences are. It is a little complicated, but she can help you get set up that way.
Yeah, 100%. And with regards to LinkedIn, so LinkedIn has been named like one of the top things to do for 2024 as far as ads are concerned. There's a lot of opportunities there, particularly with people who are doing like commercial and agricultural things that are more business to business, but also in the luxury market. Like there's a lot of contacts you can make. You can do some targeting with regards to job title, things like that, to kind of make your targeting a little bit more specific and segmented. And I personally have not run any ads on LinkedIn. This is just kind of done my research, so I'm excited to dive into it on my own and see what it could do. Some of my colleagues have been working on it, and they've been just singing its praises. So if you have not taken an opportunity to check out LinkedIn for your marketing efforts in 2024, that's definitely something to start keeping an eye on.
And it's also the social media platform that I think realtors use the very least. It seems
Yep.
to be not used at all by realtors, and it is used by literally every other industry. So this is
Hmm.
a place where I would spend a lot of time. For example, if you had a client that worked at a corporation in your local area, I would go into LinkedIn and see if I could find like the head of HR for that particular organization, if it's big enough to have that,
It's a
or
great
the
idea.
owner, and say, "Hey, I just worked with one of your employees. I helped them, buy, sell, or whatever. And I would love the opportunity to come and bring lunch for the audience for the office, and reach out and do a free webinar about working with a realtor or whatever." This is
Hmm.
what you can use LinkedIn to do: is you can actually find this information and use it in a hyper local way. So it's not just about making as many connections as you can on LinkedIn, which is great as well, or posting great content to LinkedIn, but you can actually use it for research and development to find
Yeah.
opportunities for you to reach out to, because every corporate person I know, they use LinkedIn. They love LinkedIn. They use it. Realtors don't usually use it, so don't be fooled into thinking, oh, no one uses LinkedIn. They do. It's just realtors don't.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I've used it more in the last like 4 years than I ever thought I would. But it's amazing the number of connections that you can make on that platform. It's great to just stay up to date on a lot of different market trends, because that's where it's a great place for you to also share your insights as far as like what you know about the market. So just be strategic about what you're sharing there, and you join groups. There's all kinds of things on there for you to participate in and engage. So
Yeah, I'm a big fan. We're actually streaming live to LinkedIn right now as well. So
oh,
we
woohoo.
streamed yeah, we streamed to all the major platforms. And that's, guys, that's kind of what you want to, again, the whole point is, should I be on Facebook? Should I be on Instagram? Should I be on LinkedIn, TikTok? Where is your audience hanging out? That's where you want to be. Where and also what you enjoy. Like if you hate LinkedIn, don't do LinkedIn. If you hate TikTok, don't be on TikTok, because it's not going to work for you as well. You want to be on something that you feel comfortable with, but also that your audience, your preferred audience, is hanging out at. How do you know where your preferred audience hangs out? Ask them. Send out a survey to all of your clients and say, "Hey, I'm working on my marketing strategy for next year. Just curious, where do you spend the most time? What social media channels, if any, do you spend time on?" That will tell you. We found out in an organization that I help, that unrelated to real estate, that LinkedIn was the number one place. I would have never guessed that. I would have guessed Facebook, but for this organization with thousands of members, LinkedIn was the clear winner, and we wouldn't have known that had we not asked. So we put a lot of our resources into LinkedIn at that point. So great, a suggestion there is just reach out to your audience and say, "Hey, could you help me? I'm just curious on where you're spending a lot of time," and that'll give you some guidance. So Tara Meier is our guest, and I want to make sure that we tell everybody that she is a coach. She is a digital strategist. She is also a marketing strategist, and most recently AI, and she's a systems person. So for example, if you wanted to learn how to deal with transaction management and maybe not have to do all that work, she can help you figure that stuff out as well. She's a systems person, and she's very, very effective. So if anyone out there is like, "Gosh, I would like to work with someone like Tara, maybe she could help, take my marketing strategies or my systems to the next level, or just learn more about AI and automation," Tara is your person. So you can find her, tarameier.com. You can also follow her on Instagram, _Tara Meier _. We'll have links to that, as well as her LinkedIn profile and all of her social channels, as well as YouTube. We will post all of that in our link, in our description. So please, please, please follow her. Tara, I want to thank you so much for coming on our show. This was really great. I counted 10 different suggestions that you gave throughout the interview. So guys, if you missed some of them, please go back and re-listen. And the best way you can help us is just tell a friend about the show. Tell another realtor that's struggling with, I mean, everyone's struggling right now, guys. It's just a tough time to be in real estate. So everybody needs as much help as possible. Do a good deed. Tell a fellow agent about the show. That helps us grow. Also support our sponsors and support Tara. Follow her on Instagram, LinkedIn. Reach out to her. Tell her how much you appreciated her appearance today, and also maybe reach out to her about coaching. She would love to chat with you. So guys, on behalf of the audience, Tara, thank you so much for being on our show. I know how busy you are, and thank you for spending time with us. And on behalf of Tara and myself, we want to thank the audience for sticking around to the very end. And thanks again for supporting our show and telling a friend. We will see everybody on the next episode. Thank you so much, Tara.
Thank you for having me. It's been a blast.